Hey, what's going on, guys? Tonight I just want to focus on reading a couple verses, actually a psalm and a couple verses from Genesis that really stood out to me today. And then just kind of maybe go into a little side rant, but I'll try to keep it short. But one of the verses that my wife pointed out to me this morning was actually from her daily Bible reading, and it's from Psalm 127, and this is from the New Living Translation version. It says, "Unless the Lord builds a house, the work of the builder is wasted. Unless the Lord protects a city, guarding it with sentries will do no good. It is useless for you to work so hard from early morning until late night, anxiously working for food to eat, for God gives rest to his loved ones. Children are a gift from the Lord. They are a reward from him. Children born to a young man are like arrows in a warrior's hand. How joyful is the man whose quiver is full of them. He will not be put to shame when he confronts his accusers at the city gates." So something that has really been striking me is that the level of dependence that we need to have in the Lord, I think we don't really fully understand. And I'll speak for me personally. I know that I really don't fully understand what that level of dependence truly needs to be. And there was a word that came to mind a couple of years ago. Man, this is around 2020, right? Where everybody, I think a lot of people went into the prepper movement, or the self-sufficient movement, being self-sufficient, and people talking about, oh, we got to build a commune, we got to buy land, start growing our own food. All this mindset of just being self-sufficient, just being selfish, right? And not truly putting your faith and dependence upon the Lord. And I know people are going to be like, well, there's got to be a balance. There's got to be a balance. It's like, you can't just sit idle and do nothing and just expect the Lord to bless you and do everything for you. And to that, I would say, you're right. No, you can't. But just like the Psalm says, there's no point in working from morning to night, stressing out, freaking out, when you're in a state of freak out. What are you actually cultivating other than panic, fear, anxiety, isolation? I mean, all this stuff, right? And the other one that really struck me this morning was in Genesis 6. Is it Genesis 6 or was it Genesis 7? Let's see. Let me see if I can find it. Anyways, I'll give the what do you call it? The short version without actually having to read the verse. But it starts in Genesis. And Genesis 6 is the story about, the angels coming down from heaven, and they see the women of man, and then decide like, hey, they look really hot, so let's take them as wives and create our own offspring, and then that gives birth to the Nephilim, right? And then at that time, the Lord says, okay, it's clearly that the whole earth has become corrupted. I'm going to destroy the earth. But then it talks about how he found favor in Noah. And man, I got to find this. Where is it? Anyways, y'all got to read this either way. Start in Genesis 6, Genesis 7, 8, and 9, because it's telling the story of Noah. But something that struck me, and I hadn't seen this before, I had seen this part where when Noah builds the ark, and he calls the animals and everything like that, and as he's going into the ark, it says that the Lord shut the gate. And so it really got me thinking, because I've always kind of thought like, okay, well, the Lord spoke from heaven and gave him the instructions to him to build the ark. So it was like a mental download, right? But from reading this, I don't think it was. It sounds like the Lord was with him building the ark and instructing him as far as how to do it. And if the Lord shut the gate, that means that the Lord was in the ark with Noah, his children, and all the animals, guiding him as far as how to take care of it and just basically bringing peace to them. Am I off on that? I just think about it, because, and then there's that verse, I think it's verse 8, or I'm sorry, not verse 8, chapter 8, when this is after the flood, and it talks about how the Noah prepares a sacrifice to him, and it says that the sweet smell of it pleased the Lord. How can you smell something if you're not there? I know God is omnipresent and all-powerful, and I'm sure he can smell something from heaven. But that statement, in order to smell something, you have to at least be close to it to be able to smell it, right? And so I've been thinking, even with the whole layoffs and everything that's been happening, I'm like, okay, where is my dependence on the Lord? Do I actually trust him? Do I truly believe what he says? And I read this, and I'm coming to this understanding. I'm like, okay, there's more to this than just believing in the head, but how do I actually put this into practice? And I think, the thing that comes to mind is just being still, being quiet, and listening to him, and making sure that what I'm hearing him say is what I'm doing. But anyways, that I just find pretty fascinating, what I've read so far. So I really don't have a whole lot to say other than that tonight. So I'm just gonna keep this one real short at that, because I do remember hearing a story one time about this preacher who went to preach at a little country church, and he gets there, and he's expecting a big old crowd, and he gets there and it's just one person. So he's like, oh, it's just you and me. And so then it's a farmer, and the preacher's like, well, I guess, what do you want to do? And the farmer tells the preacher's like, well, when I'm feeding my cow, if one shows up, I feed it. And then so the preacher does his whole message and everything like that, a big old long message. And then at the end, he looks at the farmer and he says, so what you think? It's like, well, I don't know much about preaching, but let me tell you this, I do know about cows. And when one shows up, I feed it. I just don't drop the whole load on them. So anyways, I'm not going to drop the whole load or try to make up anything extra. So with that being said, hey, I'll talk to you guys later.